by a sergeant or a corporal. What's the limber?
Shooting it again?
What was the range on this gun?
This gun will throw an iron ball approximately a mile, 1,680 yards at 5 degrees. I'm told that I could probably hit the Sunrise Highway. We're going to demonstrate loading by detail, so I'll be able to explain every step of the loading procedure. Load by detail, load, shell 1,000 yards. With that, the lumber corporal will echo my command. He will say box is open as he prepares the round. The box is closed when he closes the box. He says this because we don't want to fire the gun when the box is open, because the red hot primer tube, if it lands in that box, it has 50 pounds of black powder in it and rounds. We would make the 6 o'clock news. Not a very good thing. Shell 1,000 yards. Attend the vent. We're now going to make sure the vent where we put our fuse is clear. We can't have any obstructions in it because then the flame will not penetrate and ignite the charge. It's kind of like if you're sipping a soda and a piece of ice gets stuck in the straw. You need the vent to be clear. Because after the gun has been fired, there's still stuff cooking in the barrel. So now she has her thumb over the vent and is cutting off the flow of oxygen in said barrel. Worm! We're now going to put a worm down the barrel, which is basically a corkscrew on the end of a long wooden pole. This is pulling out the burning aluminum foil that contains most of our charge. Because what would happen if you put a bag of black powder down on some burning aluminum foil? What do you think would happen? It'd blow up, right? What sponge? We now take the sponge end of our sponge rammer, we put it down the barrel all the way to the back, which is called the breech. We spin it around. We make sure there are no embers in that barrel. Also, you'll see that number 3 still has his hand over the vent, because if his hand was off the vent and we were sponging the gun, it would be like fanning any embers that were in that barrel. So we always have to make sure we have a good seal. Advanced cartridge. The number 2 man is going to take the cartridge out of his bag. He's going to hold it up to his chest. He's going to turn counterclockwise with his back to the enemy, sliding the round under the barrel before he puts it in the muzzle. He's doing this to protect the round because the finest sharpshooters in the world are American sharpshooters. Unfortunately, some of them live below the Mason-Dixon line, and they would love nothing better than to shoot that charge out of his hand and blow everybody up on the gun. Ram! I need you folks to move over this way a little bit.
Can you see it?
Ramming is self-explanatory. I don't think I have to explain it. Ready to piece. Number 3 now steps in with a brass pick because brass does not spark, and we don't want any sparks down there till we're ready. Number 3 is going to puncture the round. Number 4 is going to advance the lanyard that has a friction primer, which is a small brass tube filled with a fulminate of mercury, what they used at the time. When it's pulled with the lanyard, it will send a 3,000 degree flame down into the breech, which will ignite the charge.
Gun is ready.
Understood? When I say prepare, I ask you all to cover your ears and open your mouths because this is loud. Opening your mouth will equalize the pressure in your head so you do not rupture an eardrum. Covering your ears will, of course, protect your hearing. Prepare.
Ready?
Load! cannoneers will now go through all of these steps by themselves. Shell, 1,000 yards. Advance the cartridge.
That's what he was just saying before.
We are firing a light charge today of 8 ounces of powder. Normally this cannon would take a charge of 2.5 pounds of powder. And then when the gun would fire, it would roll all the way back towards the limber. Anywhere from 9 to 12 feet. Ready to piece?
Gun is ready.
Understood. Prepare. We use hand signals to fire the gun. We never say the F word, which would be F-I-R-R-E, because someone on another gun could get confused and fire the gun accidentally. A well-trained crew on top of their game could get off 2 to 3 shots a minute. A lot of times, if the enemy was too close, they would do away with a lot of the niceties. They wouldn't bother worming. They wouldn't bother wet sponging. The number 3 would put the thumb on the bench. They throw a fresh charge down the barrel. Number 3 would take the thumb off. The embers would ignite the charge and the gun would go off. We had 4 different types of ordnance. We had solid shot. Has anybody ever skipped a stone across a pond? Well, a skilled gunner could skip a cannonball across the ground the same way. If the cannonball hit you in the leg, your leg would be gone. Your leg would become a projectile. If it hit you in the knapsack, it would take your knapsack off. That would become a projectile. Solid shot was good for fixed emplacements, going through lines of mass infantry. Now, has anybody gone to the fireworks displays where you see those airbursts 150 feet over your head? You feel that little thump in your chest? We had also explosive shell. The shell would be hollowed out with an explosive charge. That charge would go off about 10 feet over your head. You would be done in by the concussion, and you would be done in by the broken bits of shell. Then, of course, somebody got the bright idea of, well, what if we put some musket balls in the shell, too? This will be great. This was called spherical case shot, which some people now call shrapnel. This would go off. You had musket balls now flying every which way, plus the broken bits of shell, plus the concussion. However, if the enemy closed within 400 yards, you switched to something called canister. Everyone has a canister in their house. Canister of coffee, canister of beans, canister of soda. Because over 150 years, the words canister have been shrunk down to the 3-letter word of can. This is 27 1-inch iron balls. It would turn my cannon into a shotgun. Basically, this would be the spread of that shotgun. I could stop an infantry or a cavalry charge in their tracks. And if the enemy was too close, the command would be given for double canister. And then the only safe place by this gun would be behind it. If anybody would like to help us swab out the barrel right now, it is more fun than whitewashing a picket fence. I guarantee it. 4 football fields. Basically, if the enemy was probably by the end of that road, you know, where that those bushes are, we would switch the canister. Because that would be an easy 400 yards.
What is the range of the weapon you're demonstrating?
1 mile. I can throw a 12-pound ball, 1,680 yards at 5 degrees. However, we have the cannon at a 0 elevation, as I really don't want to break any windows, even though I'm covered by their insurance.
Target might be a little bit annoyed at you.
Exactly. But the thing about it is, really, we really don't have to worry about windows, because if you wanted to break somebody's windows, you'd have a bunch of cannons going off, and the successive shock waves would do the trick for you.
We were talking about one.
The rope is pulled so long. To move the cannon quickly, we would unleash the prolong. All the men would grab the prolong, we'd grab it and run like hell, using leverage to move the cannon around. The stick at the end sticking up is called the trail spike, because if I want to aim the gun, this gun and carriage weigh over 2,000 pounds. But picking up the trail spike, I'm using leverage. I could not pick up the trail by myself. We're using the trail spike and using the prolong, we're using leverage. If I took 10 of these young kids and I told them to each grab a piece of the rope, they would be able to pull this cannon around. And of course, they'd be nice and tired when they got home, so they'd go right to sleep. We did that at Newmarket. The powers that be did not want us to fire the cannon for the school kids, and I says, well, let's let them pull the cannons around. So they were pulling around 2 Parrott rifles, which are considerably less in weight than this, and those buses were real quiet on the way home. Any other questions?
How much ordnance was in the limber?
Limbers would hold approximately 50 rounds. And the artillery units were under orders not to rapid fire, because the generals said that it's a sign of cowardice, because if your gun was empty, then you got to leave the field. Of course, sometimes you would have targets of opportunity. But generally, they would always tell them to slow their rate of fire down to only, shoot at targets that they had, because they didn't want them to expend all their ammunition. And for an artilleryman to lose his cannon would be like for an infantryman to lose his flag. During the Battle of Gettysburg at Pickett's charge, one of the artillery units was being overrun. A Confederate officer put his hand on the gun and said, "This gun is mine." The cannoneer said, "Oh no, it isn't." And he beamed him with that trail spike. And then he was subsequently shot by other Confederates. If our gun was about to be overrun, we would take our limber and run with that to deny the Confederates ammunition. We would also take the end of a rat tail spike, rat tail file, put it in the vent and break it off. This way, rendering the gun useless. Until it would have to be taken back to the ordnance department and drilled out, and then the vent pulled, and then the new vent put in. This cannon,
Clean and secure.
clean and secure. This cannon was cast in Boston, Massachusetts by the H.N. Hoover Company, which along with Revere Copper Works was a subsidiary to Ames. If you're in a houseware store like Target, and you're in the houseware department and you're looking at the pots and pans, if you see Revere Copper Pots, it's the same company. Revere is still in business. And it does look like they're getting ready to start the battle, which I understand is 2 o'clock.
That's what gets shot at.
But anybody, yes sir? Right. They would have to move it back up into battery. And there would be so much smoke that what they would do is they would look at the threads with their wheels, they literally just follow the wheels back to the original position.
When they shoot